For Bruce.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. There's no doubt in anyone's mind, I would think, that it is incredibly difficult to live on Newstart. The rate of Newstart is so low that it's acting as a barrier to people actually finding work. Now, businesses, unions and experts have all agreed on this, and indeed the Business Council of Australia, representing the establishment, if you like, the biggest of corporate Australia, have said it clearly that the rate of Newstart is too low. Most people in the parliament, I think, agree, whether publicly or at least privately. The member for Chisholm, however, at least has said publicly $40 a day is fine, you can live on that. But there are far too many Australians who can't get a job. Now, we hear a lot of it from the government that they've created 1 million jobs, million jobs. They don't tell us, of course, that since 2013, half of those 1 million jobs were actually given to people on temporary work visas. Don't hear much about that. We don't hear much about the 1.1 million Australians that are underemployed, that want more work, that need to work more hours, Minister, and they can't get those hours. And we don't hear the inconvenient truth that there are 40,000 more people on the unemployment queue than when your government was elected. That 1 million jobs figure apparently is sort of a smoke and mirrors thing to distract from what's really going on. But buried in those figures, Minister, there are 470,000 Australians that are long-term unemployed. They've been on Newstart for 12 months. It's totally unacceptable. Now, Newstart, of course, is meant to be a temporary payment. You're not meant to live on it lifelong. But when you're on that kind of money long-term, real damage sets in. So what do you think a decent government would do? You could be honest that it's too low and say, well, we're going to review the system, fiscally constrained, it's tough, but we acknowledge it's a problem and we'll have a look at it. Well, that's Labor's policy. At the very least, you could do nothing, Minister. You could just say, look, quietly, we're not going to look at this at the moment. But this government's policy is to not even do nothing. They're so arrogant and out of touch that they're still pursuing a cut to Newstart of $8.80 per fortnight by axing the energy supplement. And let's be very clear, Minister, why you haven't managed to do this yet. It's because Labor has fought hard for the last 2 years to protect vulnerable Australians from Newstart cuts. It is the only reason this hasn't happened yet. So it's time for this government, through this budget, to drop your unfair cut to Australians on Newstart. The former Prime Minister wanted to make young people wait for 6 months before getting any income support, but Labor defeated that cut because Labor believes in a society that protects and invests in people, not demonising Australians who need our social security safety net. I'm going to put clear and specific questions to the Minister. You did fail to answer any of my questions last time. I'll give you 1 out of 10. You didn't mention the pension age of 70. You did say the word pension, so we'll word associate and give you 1 mark out of 10 for that. But I'm going to be optimistic, Minister, even hopeful that you might answer, a moment of redemption. Because I did say to him in a speech previously, I did say to him that we have something in common. There's a moment of empathy again. We are both scared of the member for Jaga. I'm scared of her. I've known her for 22 years. You're scared of her. We see it in question time. So she's sick today. She's not here. So you can relax. You can settle in. You can tell the truth. Nothing bad's going to happen. There's no reason to be scared. The questions, Minister. What is the maximum rate of the energy supplement that someone on Newstart could receive today? Number 2, what is the current fortnightly maximum payment for a single person with no dependence on Newstart, including the energy supplement? Number 3, what will the fortnightly maximum payment for a single person on Newstart be if the government's plans to remove the energy supplement for new applicants are successful? How much less will a new applicant receive per fortnight? Number 4, isn't it the case that by axing the energy supplement, Minister, the Turnbull government is essentially cutting Newstart to the most vulnerable? Now that's a yes-no. It's pretty much multiple choice. Yes, no. You've got a 50% chance of getting that one right. We know you're not fully across the detail yet. And 5, how many people on Newstart will see their energy supplement cut? Now, we have had a bit of this in Senate estimates. You're not there, so maybe we'll get something better from you, Minister. But it tends to go sideways. And I know your talking point over there somewhere will say, Newstart hasn't changed. Newstart hasn't changed. Well, that is waffle. What we need are answers that talk about the cash that goes into people's pockets. Because in the real world, when you're living hand-to-mouth, I've door-knocked swathes of my electorate, $10 is a lot of money to people living hand-to-mouth. Taking $4.40 off people per week is material over the year. So you have an opportunity here, Minister, for redemption. You could show that this forum is not as meaningless as question time and actually answer the question.